Hi, it's Kelsey Fry here in New York City with our part 2 interview with LDean. Hi, Landy.
Hi, Kelsey.
How are you?
I'm good.
It snowed overnight. It's
snowed overnight.
beautiful,
It's
beautiful,
amazing.
beautiful. I really appreciate that you came back today. I saw a beautiful demo, which the MUA TV audience will see. The Danny will edit it in there. And it was absolutely beautiful.
Nice.
I love the colors that you used on the eyeshadow. It seems very trendy as I read through some of the fashion magazines. It was like a beautiful blue, aqua, turquoise. But you explained it in the demo, but when I came in, I saw it. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
So yesterday we left off, we visited you in Milan, your return. We enjoyed the story about you meeting Tina Turner and enjoying that part of that glamorous wedding that you were doing.
Right.
And then you've come back to New York. One of the things that we didn't really touch on was the relationship that you acquired with Joe Blasco, and that you also did a lot of traveling with Joe in regards to his cosmetic products.
Right.
Can you give us a little bit more on that when you traveled with him and Rose? I think you went to Milan and Austria, and
Sure.
I'm sure you went all over. You probably went to
Absolutely.
Thailand and Korea. Did you go to the...
I did not go that far.
You did
no.
not go that far.
No.
Well, tell us about the trips and the work you did with Joe.
Well, you know, being as I met him through the sort of Glamour Shot connection and had done the training and applied it there, I sort of understood, you know, both sides of it. I understood the, you know, the consumer side, you know, like Glamour Shots being a client of Joe Blasco, and having worked closely with him and Rose, I understood that, you know, their side of it, the chemistry side, the production side of it, and everything that went into that. So it wasn't actually until I left Glamour Shots and was freelancing that I started traveling with Joe Blasco to a lot of Glamour Shot stores and similar environments, because I understood the sort of society consumer side of it and what they needed, and I worked a lot with the public as opposed to, you know, celebrities or models. I did all of it, but I had worked extensively with the public at Glamour Shots and in different situations, so I knew how to sort of apply the techniques and maybe filter them a little bit into mainstream and translate the products and the product knowledge.
Because he did have a society line as well as a professional line.
Right.
And I remember that was because the people that were in the television and film were using the product, and people liked it so much they wanted to buy it
Exactly.
outside of the theatrical venues or distributors that were available. So I remember too being part of that kind of West Coast part of it before traveling with him as well, that he had a society line that he also made available to a lot of the distributors. That's kind of how we met in the Nordstroms.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about some of your trips and some of the experiences. And
Well, initially it was around the States, and it was different, you know, it was a lot of Glamour Shots locations, because clearly I understood that animal and sort of how it worked and how the product would sort of fit into their flow, and then as well as just some you know, smaller boutique sort of beauty stores, and that gave me, you know, additional knowledge just from teaching it and learning, and I would do a lot of the demos and
kind of bring the product in, help the
knowledge.
distributors do demonstrations so that they would be
Exactly.
more familiar. Because, you know, you really did have to understand how to use Joe Blasco products, because
Right.
and it was at no fault to Joe, because he came up with this absolutely incredible product, this really beautiful, you know, high pigmented, no animal testing, you know,
Right.
wonderful color range, all the way from dark skin Asian to the lightest skin tone that you could possibly be, you know, alabaster, TV white. But I think that the society needed to understand how to use that. So you became part of the teaching team to kind of help the distributors understand the products that you would bring into the stores and
Absolutely, yeah. And it was great. It was you know, sort of continuing education for me, and allowed me to travel a little bit and really learn the product. And then when I relocated to New York for a year, and then I moved to Milan, and even while I was in Milan, Joe had distributors, Italian distributors, and I would go and do demos for them and sort of bring in the fashion vibe and sort of work, you know, having worked on the couture shows and the main fashion shows and celebrities and models and editorials and all of this, it sort of, you know, gave a nice interjection to the line, as, you know, not just being film and TV oriented, or, you know, it sort of gave it a bit of a beauty edge. And so I traveled a little bit around Italy. I went to Austria, and spoke at a beauty show there, representing Joe through his distributors in Austria, and so that was amazing. You know, Vienna was beautiful, and it was nice to sort of have moved so far away, but still have those sort of American affiliations that I had, and be able to, you know, it was a bit of a comfort zone to still sort of be working through, you know, my roots, sort of. And then when I came back to New York is when he went into Nordstrom's, and so I was able to travel a little bit again, and which is how you and I met,
Yeah.
doing some of the appearances at Nordstrom's, and that was amazing as well, just to see the reaction to a different sort of product. And that's when, you know, it was 4 or 5 years into this explosion of all these artists doing their line, and it was just sort of another voice that came in and, you know, gave customers an option.
Yeah,
So-
I really enjoyed, you know, traveling and doing those demonstrations. And, you know, the first time that I actually left to go out of the country, and I'm wondering if you had a similar experience, I always knew in my heart, and being in Los Angeles, you know, the fame and recognition and the legacy that Joe Blasco carries around the world. But I remember my first trip to Finland when we went, and honestly, I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was a little surprised that, I mean, Joe had paparazzi, okay? It was like, it was something that I had not really
Yeah.
ever experienced. And not that he shouldn't have, it's just that I didn't get that sense from, you know, his legacy, not only as an educator and as someone who's come up with this incredible, you know, cosmetic product, and how he, you know, transitioned it into society and made it available. But when I was in Finland, I mean, they just went crazy. I mean, literally, we stepped out of the limo and I was like, what's going on? You know, is there, you know, celebrity behind us? And it was like, no, there was a celebrity right in front of me, and it was Joe Blasco. And I wonder if you also shared some of that when you travel, because I never did go to Milan and I didn't go to Austria, but I have to tell you, I mean, he is very, very famous in
Yeah.
Finland and in the Stockmann's, I believe. I hope I have it right, Joe. Stockmann's department stores. Did you have that somewhat similar experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was, you know, and I think that it varies from culture to culture, and depending on what their exposure is and what's available. But I do always remember that feeling from Finland, and even in Austria, it was very much, you know, they were like waiting to hear what I had to say and watch the demo. And I was in the local newspaper. I couldn't read a word of it, even though I took German in high school. But so it was great, and it was great to be a part of that and sort of be considered as a protege. And, you know, what I will say both about Joe and Vincent is that, you know, at least in my situation, they never sort of presented me as up and coming or as an assistant. They always presented me as if I'm not available to do this, this is who you want.
Right.
And so that really helped with my confidence and, you know, not feeling like I was paying my dues. And of course, this is a unique situation to me. It doesn't apply to everybody, but that just always, you know, has sort of remained with me and stuck with me about both of them, is that I always felt equal, even though I was learning and, you know, in sort of a mentor situation. So
Yeah, I shared the exact feeling in that mentorship. Maybe not the exact feeling, but what I mean is that having kind of come from a small town and thought that beauty was going to lead me to more work, and not really knowing television, you know, and having Joe see some talent that I had, and actually started to train me to instruct right away. I remember leaving when I was going to apply for his school, and I remember leaving going, I just got a job. That's weird. I was coming to take my classes, so I actually was able to train as an instructor, and he kind of really kind of pulled from me aspects of myself that he could see intuitively that I didn't know that I had, until he started to allow me to hone them. And then I could realize that, wow, I actually can photographically, I can really learn something, and I can photographically put his techniques and all that he is and believe in them, because
Right.
I see them work, and then bring them to others through instructing and teaching at his makeup centers. And, you know, then traveling with him and learning about the chemistry behind his products, and really learning the back door to a lot of makeup artistry. You know, not just this is blush and this is powder, but this is talc versus no talc, and this is 45% pigment versus 55, and how you can use it wet and how you can use it with what, it's
Right.
like he really taught me avenues outside of the typical usage of just a product where someone goes, yeah, just put some on a palette and, go on. He would say, have you tried it this way and have you tried it that way? And
Right.
so he really opened up accessory kind of doors in me understanding about products, and really kind of gave me a strong base about, so that when I would go out and work either as a makeup artist or I would teach, I really had that basic understanding, and I realized that's what you really need to kind of understand. If you understand the dynamics and the breakdown and the chemistry and how things work. And he was very giving that way, and I think it only helped me in the success of my profession, that I actually understood. One thing he always used to say is that you should know why you're doing what you're doing. You should understand why something works the way that it works and why it may not work, so that you can have options. And so I
Right.
really liked the way he opened aspects of my mind, and it wasn't just some kind of, this is makeup, put mascara on, put blush on. And so I really have been appreciative in my heart for all that in the really early years, because it has carried with me
Oh yeah.
all along through the 20 years that we have known each other.
Absolutely.
So I really like that. So, any fun stories in Austria? Anything you can share? Did you?
It was relatively brief. I
Uh-huh.
sort of came in. They took me on a tour of the Vienna Opera House, which was nice. I got to see the makeup department, and even though that's
That's
not the media
cool.
that I work in, it was just amazing to actually see. The I'm blank.
Well, the
the things they do,
backstage-
the hair with
Well, the
what are those
wig, the
called, with the
ventilator.
pins.
Oh, the hackle.
The hackle,
The
to
hackle.
see those in like a workshop sort of setting.
Yeah,
'Cause
no, they're huge. They're
Yeah.
backstage in preparation with the wigs and the hackle, because
it was great. I mean, it
Yeah.
was one of the best things they could have done. And
I saw the Finland Opera House in
Yeah.
the same way. And it's just like, you walk in, you're like, wow, okay, this is a
Yeah.
whole different ball game in the way that it operates. And so that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
to
it was
see the
great. I
opera
mean,
house.
I've been fortunate to work a little bit in every aspect of the industry in some degree, but however, Broadway, stage, opera, that sort of thing
kind of
is
Broadway
not
have you
something.
done?
No, that's the one
Oh, you
area that I
haven't.
haven't.
I'm
So it
sorry.
was interesting to sort of see what was happening, because I've done a little film here and there, some TV, print, bridal, salon, retail. Pretty much. A little bit in every aspect except that one. So
Do you
it was
have
great to
any
see that.
associates that work in Broadway that you discuss? Do you have anything? I mean,
I don't, and funny enough, it goes back to what we talked about yesterday, is that it really is a separate group of people, and it's for no other reason than, people having a passion to do a certain media, and they just end up in that circle, and it just grows from there.
Right.
And just like I don't go and apply to do, the next Broadway show, and I don't send my resume to producers or directors to do film, because I work in print.
Right.
And so it's interesting how those little pockets happen. And it's the same thing. I actually don't really know any. I did meet one hair person that did a lot of. I met him doing John Stamos, and he did some Broadway things as well. In fact, I think he met John on Cabaret. So that was, interesting.
yeah.
And that he crossed over a little, because John did Cabaret, and then he came back in and he did, his TV series again. And so it's interesting. We will cross paths, but it really is a different group of people.
Yeah, sometimes in LA, we're able to, if like there's a production, because we don't get as much Broadway, but if we get like Carmen or some large production, we can actually call the department head, because it's all kind of union.
Right.
And it's when we can call it and say, we're not busy, and if you need a hand, and sometimes I do that, even though it's not in any capacity like department heading or keying or taking main characters, but just to be a part of that experience. For me, it's even better to do that than to do nothing at all. What are you feeling like your career is going to? You have a salon that you work in, which I wanted to give, I wanted to drop the salon name.
Right.
Idris Salon.
Idris, yes.
Idris, I'm sorry. Idris Salon. Can you tell the MUA TV audience where Idris Salon is, in case somebody wants to come and get the wow treatment?
Absolutely. Idris is located in the Meatpacking District. It's on 14th and Washington, on the 3rd floor, and it's an amazing space. There's amazing hair cutters and colorists, manicurists. We have an in-house agency that we work with a lot of different celebrities and some high-profile advertising jobs, and it's, you know, it's a really great space, and that's where my eyebrow empire is located.
I'm going to have to come visit that eyebrow empire.
Yeah, it's a beautiful loft space, and we've all known each other. The core team there go back. I mean, I moved here in '96, and I know Idris, the owner, from when I moved here, Ann, our in-house PR, Ann Lawler, Lisa, Ronnie, Todd, Josh. We've all worked together for 10 plus years, and so
It's like
there's
family.
definitely a family unit there. It's a living room setting. It's a really beautiful space, and it's nice to have sort of a, you know, as a freelancer, you know, your kit's in your closet, you're taking it on shoots, and it's nice to have somewhere that I have this amazing, like, flight attendant rolling case that's like this tall, that's just full, and that stays there, and then I have my editorial kit, and so it's just nice to have a home base. I can invite editors in, I can invite creative directors, photographers, models that I meet on shoots, you know.
So people can actually come and get a real feeling for what you do, and the salon kind of represents the industry as it is, and so it's a really great impression for people to have when they're coming to meet you. They can see the surrounding. I think that's very impressive to people because they say, wow, it can be very hip and very trendy. The setup, you know, it's impressionable.
Nice, to have a space that, you know, people
it's like having
can
a studio.
come, and I do makeup lessons there, which is great. I spend, you know, an hour and a half to 2 hours teaching a client how to do their makeup. I stay product neutral so I can truly recommend my favorite things and not sort of be, you know, bound by a certain line. And I enjoy that, and there's a trust there. And the retailers definitely have their place, and when you go into a department store, it is about purchasing makeup, and they should sell you everything that's there because they believe in it and they love it, and that's their job. And it's become my role to have them bring all that stuff in and really take the time in a bit more of a private setting to teach them step by step how to hold the lash curler. Yes, I send them with a face chart, and it's really become, you know, a great thing. In fact, I was listed as a makeover master this January in Allure, which has brought in additional business for makeup lessons, and I feel like a lot of it is because there's a need for that. There's a need for somebody like me to sort of teach from a neutiral standpoint.
Yeah, because there's such an investment made in the home bathroom drawer that if you've invested, you know, in several $100s worth of makeup, and you're not quite sure how to either change it up or to alter because of summer or winter, or, you know, like if your skin is a little lighter or darker, it's nice to have some guidance and actually not waste these products and let them sit in the back of the drawer and get spider webs. You can actually kind of integrate them.
And that's what happens.
Right, it does happen.
We blow them off, and then we're like, okay, you know, this works, this doesn't. And I find too, a lot of times clients just want someone to say, you know what, you don't have to wear lip liner, you don't have to fill in your brows, you know, let me shape them for you so you don't have to do that. You don't have to wear 4 colors on your eyes, let me show you. Because if you're not going to do it, there's no sense in me teaching you how. So I interview them a little bit, and I find out what kind of time will you spend. Are you good with a pencil? Are you good with brushes? And it's just a really great.
Do you use your fingers?
Yeah, it's just a good arena where there's no pressure of the sales, and it's, you know, it's a really nice thing. And people get very excited about coming in and learning how to. It empowers them to be able to do it themselves. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, you said my favorite things. I'd like you to tell me 5 of your favorite things that you can't live without. Besides, I believe they're called the Rubus tweezers?
The Rubus tweezers,
Rubus tweezers. Besides the Rubus tweezers.
The mineral powder. I think what sold me on it was its concealing power. So, and because of the media that I work in, I like the skin to be very reflective and natural, and I can cover discolorations in the face, and it's flat and it's reflective and it looks like real skin. And so for me, especially in like when a client comes in and they don't really want to do a base and a powder and all of these things, it's something that I can just teach them how to do in a very quick way. And yes, it is the one that was on TV, and it's really it's just one of those things that was something different after so many years of doing makeup, and I love it even if I use it lightly as a finishing powder on top of a makeup. So that's one of my sort of newer favorite things.
I mean, you know, it's just come full circle. I can remember very much starting in makeup and sales on the mineral powder. I was using this product in a store back, you know, in Los Angeles when I first started, called Beverly Hills Dirt. That's what it was called, and it came in a little clay pot, and it had a stopper.
Oh, it was like that rose glow.
Right,
Yes.
and the idea was is that it was dirt, and that you could, you know, use the stopper to make placement. But the idea was to use the short, squatty, brush.
Right.
And you would take a little bit, and you could go all over. And they came in a few colors, but
I remember
also
that.
yeah,
It looked like a little clay pot,
a
right?
little clay pot. Yeah, and you could do that, and you could brush it in, but it just didn't catch on that
Right.
quick. And I'm just saying, so I find that cosmetics that we like, they kind of come full circle. We get into the
Yeah.
correction, the cream, the tinted moisturizers, and then we pull back, and now we're back to the bare minerals.
Yeah, which has been around for over 30 years.
Yeah, it's
Who
been around
knew?
for a long time.
Who knew?
Okay, something else.
Something else? Well, I'm a pretty big fan of Vincent Longo's products. Surprisingly enough, he was my mentor.
Right.
I like the way he packages things, and I can tend to throw stuff together when I'm doing a shoot, and I can make any texture work, but because I need to maintain that mentality of the salon environment, I'm always thinking, when I'm looking at new things, is this something that a client will use?
Right.
And Vincent packages these great duo blushes, duo pencils, shadow trios, and so for me, I can hand the client one eyeshadow
Package.
palette that has 3 colors in it. I can hand him one pencil that has a light one for the top and or a light one for the bottom and a dark one for the top.
Right.
So for me, it's his packaging and the way he puts things together fits my
There's some
philosophies and my
options.
techniques. So that for me, from a retail or from a client standpoint at the salon, is really great because it just works.
It works for you.
It's really great. The Clé de Peau concealers, which I love.
I'm a
it's
fan
it's
of
a
those
very
too.
unique texture.
They're a little pricey for the
They are.
average person, but
Yeah,
they last
they
so
last.
long.
They do.
That by the time you go through a few of the others, and
Yeah.
their work is so great, I'm a big fan myself.
Yeah, it's a really great texture. One of my favorite products of all time is Joe Blasco's Ultimate Colors. I find that just so many different situations, they work really well. If I want to do a quick makeup with my finger, if I want to do a precise liner, if I want to draw eyebrows with a fine brush, several different things, and
Right.
that to me was, way, way ahead of its time. And
Right.
it's something that I keep in my kit in several different colors and always find a situation where I can use it.
I actually took a palette, and Joe's always been very kind and giving when I asked for specific
days.
color. Well, I wanted a palette made so that I didn't have to have each one to unscrew, and I actually have all the essential colors of the brown, but he also gave me, there's some bright colors that are in turquoise, and there's some ochre, there's some different colors that are really highly pigmented in this palette so that I can just kind of open it up, and I've got all the ultimate colors, even beyond the black, the brown, the Eddie Leonard, and the gray. There's a little bit of blue and other colors, so if I
Nice.
want to do something, a little more fashion sense, or to utilize the ultimate colors, I love them too. Okay, so one more.
One more, I love my Maybelline mascaras.
You love your Maybelline mascaras.
I like the formulas.
the pink and green tube specifically, or have you
I
moved on?
actually use one called Volume Express. I
Right.
use a lot of waterproof things because when I do weddings, when I do shoots, I need something that resists the moisture in the air so the curl and the lash doesn't drop. And I just need something that lasts. And that's my favorite one. Lash Discovery is an amazing formula. It's a very fine, fine brush. And I find a lot of clients come in with fine, small lashes. And when you approach it with this big wand, of course you're going to have a mess. You're going to get too
Right.
much product. So I recommend that a lot. Again, keeping in mind the translation to my clients, I'm always looking for things, and so they become my favorite because they make other people happy, and because they sort of serve a purpose for them. So it makes me happy to use it and happy to sort of present,
And it's the one thing
tell people about it.
that's affordable. I mean, there are mascaras that cost a lot, but I really do believe there are mascaras that work really fantastic, that are affordable on the market. But I want to ask you something about mascaras. You brought it up, and I'm not going to name names because that's not what I'm talking about. But now,
Right.
I've noticed lately that there's these mascaras have gone crazy. There's like the one with the ball on the end. It looks like
And the
some kind of
oscillating
the gladiator
The
spiked
battle axe,
ball
yeah.
that's on the end, and there's one that turns around and around and around. It's like you take it out, and it's like almost like the new shavers, where you put a little battery in, and the wand kind of it turns for you. There's all these kind of innovative I don't know, or crazy designed mascaras. How do you feel about those? Have you had? And there's one also that you put on, and it actually coats the lash
Right.
with kind of a plastic sizer
The
or
tubes,
polymer
yes.
that are the tubes. That then, you know, if you cleanse your face, they kind of fall to the sink, and your client's not sure if they just lost their lashes or.
Right.
What do you think of the eyelashes and eyelash extensions?
Well,
All of the eyelash stuff that's kind of coming out.
I feel as an artist, I sort of have my thing down. And I
Right.
feel like, you know, whether it's a cake mascara, whether it's, you know, a waterproof, whether it's lengthening, thickening, I use my own tools, and that's what I tell my clients. The wands and everything are irrelevant to me because for sanitation reasons, number one, I use disposable wands, or
Right.
I'll use a brush that I can clean in between.
Right. I snap
So,
mine off right
yeah.
right away, so I can't even use
The
it.
effects that I get are from the tools. That doesn't always translate to the consumer, so I feel like there does need to be these innovations. And I actually did, Shape Magazine a few months ago sent me several of those, and I sort of did trial and errors on them and then reported back to them, and they put an article in the magazine. And so I did try a
What
lot
issue
of them.
is that
and,
out in? That can we find it still?
No, I think it was in the fall actually, but I just came across it the other day when I was organizing my press sheets. But it's
Can you give us a
some of
recap?
them, yeah, some of them worked. I mean, I think that, you know, the vibrating one, if they're sort of taught how to use it, where they sort of put it right at the root of the lash, and it does sort of, because it will sort of shimmy them apart.
Right.
And I feel the number one mistake, especially consumers make, is too much product too fast. The wands are just saturated with all this product, and they go one time, and it's already sticky
Right.
together. So I
Everything's
teach
stuck
them how to
together.
clean the wand completely every few days or every day. So they're starting with a brand new wand, like I do when I use a disposable one. And that's a big part of the effect, is the thin layering, is to build it slowly and not just go right in, because then they will stick and you'll get those effects. The tubing, I hear a lot of positive things. And you know, the other thing about the salon, working there and working in print, is that I hear feedback from consumers, and I learn about products. One of my clients for a wedding brought in the Bare Minerals, and that's how I started using it.
Right.
So I have clients that come in, oh, I just started using that new tube mascara, I love it. And so that's what matters. It doesn't matter if I like it, again, because I have my own tools and I can create. I don't have trouble making lashes look great,
Right.
but I've been doing it for, you know,
Right.
several years. And
Several.
Several.
Decades.
Several.
Several
Decades.
decades.
Decades, yeah. So there's definitely a place for it, and I feel like it, you know, makeup has become a bit more of a novelty than it used to be. There was a time when it was a necessity, and it was like having a hairbrush. Now it's like having barrettes and bows. It's decorative, again, it's fun. Sometimes, you know, Chanel or somebody will send me this amazing compact, and I refuse to use it because it's such a piece of artwork.
Right.
Beautiful quilted satin bag that it's in, and
I
just the
know.
colors, and
You hate
and
to
I
break the
feel-
top that it has some design or something.
and I still keep the plastic covers
Yeah.
on, you know, some of the more glamorous compacts, and then I have the makeup that's functional, and so, you know, it's all part of it, and it isn't always like the best technological advance, but it does keep things fresh, and it keeps people trying new things, and you know, out of it, I feel like there comes some great star products every now and then. And so, yeah, more power to them. Bring out the vibrating mascara.
Excellent. I'll take two. So I was in London at the International Makeup Artist Trade Show, and there's this great company. I'm not choosing to promote one over the other, but it's a company called Love Me, Then Dump Me, and it's a company that really has focused on disposables to a place that I have not seen before. I mean, usually I'm accustomed to the one wand and to the one lip brush that's frayed and you can never get a straight line. This company has come out with fine points and angles, but they've also come out with like 7 different styles, shapes, you know, of mascara brushes, down to really fine, to a curve, to a fluffy, to a thin. And before you leave, we've already done a demonstration, but I have a few in my bag, and I'll turn you on to them. And
Yes.
because they're really great, like if you want, you know, different styles of the mascara wand. I don't know if
Right.
if you've seen those around, but
No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, guys.
all right. Well, I'm going to give you your Valentine before you leave. I'll expect a Valentine back. Okay.
All
Maybe
right.
it begins with a T and ends with an S. I don't know what that would be. Tweezers.
Oh, right.
Okay. What do you want to do? Where do you want the next 10 years to go for you in your career? I mean, I'm not trying to make jest of it. I'm just saying, is there something else that you're wanting to obtain? I mean, it really sounds to me that you're extremely successful. You have a wonderful place to go to every day. You have a very, very wonderful clientele. You've been able to travel. You've touched, noses with celebrities and stars and great, designers. Is there something still out there in the world of makeup artistry or fashion or print that you are really looking forward to maybe pulling into your life before, you move on to retirement or basking in the sun in Europe, as you told me earlier?
I don't know. I feel like I've come, I've had a lot of years of sort of, more the business side of it and sort of creating a business that supports me, if you will, in our material world. And I feel like there's a lot that sort of is left by the wayside as far as creativity. So I'm definitely looking to have quieter times when I just do more shoots for me, more testing as we talked about yesterday, and just creating, images that, that I'll look at for the rest of my life and just be like, wow, I remember when I did that shoot, it was so amazing. And, there are just, those things just really stand out to me. The things that are jobs tend to blend a little bit more, and become a bit, I don't want to say mechanical, but it's just, it's sort of part of the corporate business, sort of business side of it, the money side.
But don't you really just, it sounds to me like what you're saying is you just really want to focus on the things inside of you that you would like to project creatively and bring that to a visual realization or presentation, and whatever that is, and not necessarily answer to, do the makeup this way or a particular clientele. You want to honor kind of what's going on within you artistically.
Yeah, because I feel like the rest of it, it'll just happen as it always has.
I feel the same way. It just happens, doesn't it?
You can't really plan an inspired life as much as I've tried to plan.
It's true.
But most of my wise decisions and things have just happened in the moment, and I feel like I want to get back to that even more and take my Sundays and my Mondays, if those happen to be my free days, and do nothing, and just sort of feed my soul and not
I
to
think
get
that just comes
hippy-dippy,
with
but
maturity. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've felt that way myself, and I'm not trying to take away from what you're saying. I'm just saying that I can relate with that. I can understand. I think that, I was talking to a friend here in New York, and I was telling her that when I was in my early 20s, I was just driving fast, go, 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 whatever, just taking things as they come. I'll do it. And I said, now that I'm over 50, it's kind of, I'm like in a cruising overdrive. It's like, I'm going to take everything, but I'm going to be a little more selective about what really feeds me.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that I want to end doing makeup, but I really believe that at some point we come to second adulthood where, I'm not living or thinking or working the way I did when I was in my 20s. I'm now evolving, and other things interest me, and so I really feel that when you have that time, you can really honor, that little tap of intuitiveness inside that says, okay, we want to do this now. And so I look forward to that. And you're right, it just comes. It's not like I sit and go, okay, where is it? It just kind of, it's almost like, it's like me being here, with Joe and him giving me the opportunity to have an opportunity to interview and be in front of the camera. It's a new experience. I'm not perfect at it. But in my heart, I really enjoy doing it. He offered me the opportunity to be the voice of MUATV.com, and I really love that. I've always wanted to do voiceovers. And so, I am taking this as an opportunity to feed something that's kind of different for me. I don't know where it will go. I'm hoping, that the interviews work out good, that maybe Joe will, feel inspired, to use me again. But that's why I'm here doing the interviews. Yeah, just to, do something different.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I want to thank you. LDean here in New York. Enjoy the snow. It's going to lighten up a little bit tomorrow.
And thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Vincent.
And this is Kelsey Fry with MUATV.com. LDean, Spotlight on Success, New York City. Back to you, Joe.